All right. Okay. And you sent me your introduction, which I told you, I mean, well, whatever. I'm just going to read it. Okay. Here we go. Our next comedian is also a student of neuro-linguistic programming, NLP. He wants to mastermind control to convince corporations to pay him copious sums of money to make them laugh. I got it out, Dutch. How about that?
Awesome.
Please, please, round of applause for Dutch Martin, everybody. Let's hear it for him. Come on, come on. Go.
Folks, my name is Dutch. Well, actually, my real name is Darren, spelled with a Y, but I go by Dutch because my real name is Darren. Don't you hate it when people make assumptions about you based on how you look? I mean, you see me as this big, menacing black man with a goatee, a shaved head, wearing an African dashiki, and I know what you're thinking. He's a yoga instructor. See, when most people think of yoga, they think of someone who's petite, slim, 2% body fat, mostly female, predominantly white, and uber flexible. I'm none of those things. I look like a nightclub bouncer more than a yoga instructor. I get it. Okay. A bouncer checks your ID at the door. I check your posture in downward facing dog. When a bouncer puts his hands on you, he's either patting you down or bouncing you out of the club. When I put my hands on you, I'm checking for proper alignment. And trust me, after you take my class, you'll be buying me drinks at the club. Growing up, I was your typical nerd. Okay. My mom kept my head in the books. She stressed education and good grammar. So, unlike the other black kids I grew up with, English is actually my first language. Because of that, I never really fit in because kids always told me that I talked proper. I wish back then they had Rosetta Stone, the Steve Harvey edition. When I was 11 years old, my mom and I moved from Cleveland, Ohio to Birmingham, Alabama. It was hard relocating to the deep South because I had to go to a new school, make new friends, and figure out what y'all meant. At my new school, the science teacher, Mr. Ezel, who was also a Baptist preacher, was going over the skeletal system, you know, the bones of the body. I got there around 3 weeks into the school year, and by the time I got there, none of the students could recite all the bones of the body, and Mr. Ezel was not happy. Then I had an epiphany. I'm going to learn all the bones of the body. This is how I'm going to make friends. Now, in 1985, the internet was known by a different name, the encyclopedia. I buried my head in my grandmother's vintage leather copy of World Book encyclopedias for 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, studying nothing but the bones. I even learned all the medical terminology with a Southern accent. Monday morning, when Mr. Ezel asked for a volunteer, I raised my hand. I went to the blackboard next to the 6-foot-long poster of the skeletal system, grabbed the little pointer, took a deep breath, and went for broke. Phalanges, metatarsals, talus, tibia, fibula, patella, femur, the lumbopelvic hip complex consisting of the sacroiliac, sacrum, coccyx, and ilium. Phalanges of the hand, metacarpals, carpals, radius, ulna, humerus. That's funny. Scapula, clavicle, sternum, rib cage. The bones of the skull consist of the mandible or jawbone, maxilla, the 3 smallest bones inside the body located inside the ear of the malleus, incus, and stapes. Moving on up, we have the frontal eminence, parietal eminence, the temporal bones, and the occipital protuberance. Finally, we have the bones of the cervical, thoracic, and lumbar vertebrae. Mr. Ezel had this look of rage on his face. I'm thinking, oh my God, did I miss a bone? He looked at me He turned to the class, and then he lit into them with a combination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the Incredible Hulk. Went something like this. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. I've given y'all 3 weeks to learn the bones of the body. And this young man, I said this young man does it in 3 days. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. I learned a valuable lesson that day. I suck at making friends. Thank you. May the bones be with you.
Thank you. Let's hear it for Dutch. Come on, Dutch Martin.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow, Dutch, I'd hate to live next door to you. I'll tell you that right now.